Well, between Paxton and the bullpen, 15 strikeouts. They did not walk a batter, so they were terrific last night. Timely hitting. Robinson Cano, a 3-run homer, his 18th home run on the year. And the defense was really good again last night. So all the elements you wanted to see, we saw it last night.
And you bring up Cano. Last night, we saw a couple of plate appearances for Robbie that kind of epitomized what Cano can do for the Mariners and what he can do to opposing pitchers as well. First plate appearance last night for Robbie, the walk, and the second one a little bit different.
Yeah, in his walk, he left the on-deck circle, and he was going to take the first pitch regardless, and he ends up working a walk and making him throw a bunch of pitches. And the key to all of this is he was able to see everything he had. As you see this get away, and he takes ball 4. But then he's already thought about it, a couple of runners on, and he knows last night that he's probably going to get the cutter off of Shields, and that's what he gets, the cutter. They tried to get it in on his hand, left it middle in. He was aggressive, hits it off the top of the fence. It goes over for a home run again, his 18th home run. But just let you know what type of veteran he is, set him up for that pitch, and took advantage of it.
Well, exciting night here tonight in Chicago. Very happy Felix Day as the King is up on the mound for the Mariners. His first start of the second half. We saw Felix make the final start of the first half for the Mariners, his first scoreless outing of the season, and he's got at least 6 innings in each start since coming off the disabled list.
And you can see his last outing, just the 2 hits. That's terrific, but the 3 walks, he'll want to stay away from the walks against Chicago. I thought it was interesting. His curveball will be a big pitch for him today. When you look at this White Sox lineup, a lot of right-handed power in the lineup, so look for his curveball early. Eventually, he wants to get to the changeup to put him away. His changeup has been his best pitch this year, so he will have to locate his fastball some too, but encouraging signs for Felix.
Take a look at the other half of our Lexus starting pitching matchup. Mike Pelfrey, who was not scheduled to pitch in this series for the White Sox, is pitching tonight. Jose Quintana now with the Cubs.
Yeah, 16 appearances, 14 starts for him on the year. The ERA just under 5 for him. His fastball is going to be about 92 miles an hour. His curveball has been a very good pitch for him, so the Mariners want to lay off of that. I think they can make him work, though, and get him out of the game early. If you look at his numbers overall this year, he's had a difficult time getting deep into ball games.
One start earlier this year against the Mariners. It was a good one for Pelfrey, as the Mariners with a win here tonight have a chance for their first series win here in Chicago since 2007. This has not been a friendly ballpark for the Mariners in recent years, as you can tell. We still got plenty more coming up here before first pitch from the south side of Chicago. And last night, as Mike was mentioning, some fantastic pitching by the Mariners, especially by the Mariners bullpen. We'll talk more about that. A little history made last night. By Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. And by the Emerald Queen Casino, presenting George Thorogood and the Destroyers August 13th. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. It has been a beautiful day here in Chicago. The Mariners a chance for a series win on the south side against the Chicago White Sox as we are getting awfully close to first pitch, game 2 of 3 from Guaranteed Rate Field. Take a look now at our T-Mobile Unlimited baseball break, and we go back to last night, Mike. We look here at franchise history. Both strikeouts without issuing a walk, and you can see this ranks in the top 4. Now, Randy, this was a 19 strikeout complete game against the A's in 1997. Randy was up to his old tricks. You appeared in that game off the bench in 1993, a defensive replacement. And then Mark Langston, 16 punch-outs at Toronto in 1988. And the last night you saw Paxton with 9, the bullpen with 6. And this really leads us to not only how good Paxton has been, but the bullpen has been fantastic, especially the back end.
It really has been, and it starts with Diaz, obviously the closer, but I think there's some stabilizing forces when you think about some of the veterans. And Vincent, who's been terrific, typically will pitch in the 8th inning. You have Zepchinski, also Cishek, some veteran guys, but Pazos, who pitches earlier, the power lefty coming out of the bullpen. We saw Tony Zick last night, 95 and a slider. If they have a lead after 6, they're in pretty good shape to get the win.
Probably it's fair to say a little frustrating for the White Sox. Their final 17 hitters last night retired in order. They did not have a good time retiring Robbie Cano. He reached base 3 times, including a 3-run homer. We'll see what Robbie and the Mariners have in store for us. First pitch is coming up next. Welcome once again to Mariners Baseball on Root Sports from Chicago as the King be taking on Jose Abreu and the White Sox. Good look at the Hancock Tower here in Chicago, and even 100 stories tall as we take a look now at Gene Segura batting .350 on the season. The rest of the Mariners lineup.
Yeah, for Gene, 2 for 5 last night. A couple of runs scored. Robinson Cano, a 3-run home run, his 18th home run on the year. And Carlos Ruiz, he will round out the 9 for the Mariners.
Zunino getting a day off. We will see him tomorrow when we also see Andrew Moore on the mound for the Mariners. Pelfrey, the 33-year-old veteran out of Wichita, Kansas, gets the start tonight for the White Sox. It was supposed to be Derek Holland going tonight for Chicago. He has been pushed to tomorrow. lot of this coming down because of the Quintana trade to the Cubs. Segura, a fine way to begin the second half last night. Reaching base twice, a single and a double. Both times he was aboard, he would eventually score. Scored half the Mariners' 4 runs last night. Garcia coming in near the line. And a foul ball. How about a look at the rest of the defense for the White Sox? We just saw Garcia.
They have struggled fielding this year. They are 14th in the American League in fielding percentage. Avisail Garcia, the all-star for the White Sox this year. Then you have Tyler Saladino. He's the utility man, but he's getting the start at second base this evening. Kevin Smith will do the catching for the White Sox.
Saladino returning from the disabled list, a long time of the DL because of a back injury. Once again, the 1-2 to Segura. Line drive into left field. Cabrera turning, watching, and it's off the base of the wall. Segura hustling into second. Close play, and not so close as it turns out. Melky Cabrera in left.
Well, it's a line drive off the wall. Cabrera, the veteran in left field, has a strong throwing arm, and he gets it in quickly. And for Segura, trying to slide around using a hook slide, but it looks that he is out. Another look at the tag, gets him on the shin just before his foot hits the bag.
And we have heard Scott Service talk about from time to time this year some frustrations, too many outs on the base paths. That's how this one starts tonight.
And for Pelfrey, again, 16 appearances, 14 starts for him, a 4.83 ERA. He has 46 strikeouts, opponents hitting .258. He has given up 10 home runs this year.
Gamble falls behind in the first 2 pitches. Frazier playing this one perfectly halfway to second. The third baseman's throw is on target for out number 2.
Yeah, for Pelfrey, he's had a difficult time this year working deep in the games, which has hurt their bullpen. So hopefully the Mariners can get his pitch count up. His curveball has been a really good pitch for him this year. Opponents hitting just .077, slugging the same against his curveball. So the Mariners are going to look for his fastball. He will throw a split quite a bit to an occasional slider.
I got people coming. I need you out.
Now the first 2 men sat down despite a leadoff single by Segura. Here is Cano. And the shift is on for Robbie. Off the plate. Anderson, the shortstop, almost can shake hands with Abreu at first. A 9-pitch, top of the first inning for Mike Pelfrey. We go to the home half. Felix about to take the mound. Now, very happy Felix Day. The King is up on the mound here this evening, taking on the Chicago White Sox in the middle game of this 3-game series, coming off one of his finest starts of the year. The final game of the first half as we look at the White Sox starting lineup.
The White Sox 6th in the American League in hitting. You see Melky Cabrera going to lead things off. Then it's Avisel Garcia, 2 for 4 last night with a couple of runs scored for him. Matt Davidson hitting 6th in the lineup. Want to be careful. Leads the team with 18 home runs. Tim Anderson led off last night. He will drop down to hit 7th this evening. For Felix on the year, 9 starts for him, a 4-3 record, 4.44 ERA, 46 strikeouts and 50 2/3 innings for Felix. And a look at the defense for the Mariners. Mitch Haniger, a fine running play out in right field last night. That was in the 9th inning. Kyle Seager was very busy last night, really playing well at third base. And again, Carlos Ruiz will do the catching. Mike Zunino getting the night off.
Felix's first pitch up and into Cabrera. That's one way to get it started for Melky. Cabrera, this is his 8th time this year leading off. He's mostly hit second, also third a little bit. Pretty defensive on that swing as well, 1-1.
Right away, it appears that Felix wants to pitch him inside.
You don't say.
Cabrera with a solid year, 283 and 10 home runs.
Felix going with the high sock look tonight.
For Felix this year, his average fastball has been 91. Lately, we've seen 92, 93 from him. Know about his changeup, also a curveball and a slider.
Ball 3.
Felix falls behind 3-1. Now Felix has gone exactly 6 innings in each of his first 4 starts since coming off the disabled list. Thump to right field, and the White Sox have grabbed an early 1-0 lead.
For the White Sox this year, that is home run number 100. The 11th home run for Cabrera. For Felix, pretty good fastballs, 90 miles an hour. They wanted to elevate it. I think they wanted it back inside, but it ended up in the middle of the plate. We'll take a look at it. You can see the ball elevated just above the belt. Started inside and ran right to the middle of the plate.
And it was 2 starts ago against the Royals where Whit Merrifield of Kansas City began the ball game with a leadoff home run against Felix. This time it is Cabrera to do so. Cabrera with fine numbers against Felix, nearly a .350 hitter against the King.
Starting Garcia with a curveball. I mean, you and I were talking about it before the game with Felix in his last outing and how he used his curveball and used it early. Again, that'll be a key today with all the right-handed hitters in the lineup.
Gets Garcia on 3 pitches.
That's the way you bounce back.
Well, it's interesting because you look at the numbers this year for Felix on his curve, and it is a drastic departure from the last 2 seasons.
Yes.
His last couple of seasons, the curveball has been as effective, I think you can make the case in a lot of ways, as his changeup. And this is a pitch that maybe wasn't the finishing pitch like the changeup with 2 strikes, but it was a pitch that in terms of opponents just simply squaring it up, it was not happening.
No, if you looked at the league averages and where he ranked with his curveball the last few years, it's been an excellent pitch, but he struggled with it a little bit this year. Opponents hitting .341 against his curveball. Good fastball right on the inside corner at 91 miles an hour.
Oh, 1 coming to Abreu. A check swing and right to Valencia. An easy out number 2.
Felix almost always has the excellent changeup. And on days when maybe he's not locating the way that he wants to, or if his velocity is down, the changeup is typically there. And then we were talking about it with Paxton last night, Aaron, and how he thinks so much mechanics and what he's doing. And I think Felix through his career has been more of a field type pitcher, and that's exactly the type of pitch that curveball is for him. And maybe he has just struggled this year to get a real good feel for it because it hasn't been as consistent the last couple of years. But his changeup, as you mentioned, a really good pitch for him this year. Opponent's hitting just 140 on his changeup.
First pitch to Frazier, found away. Well, the changeup seemed to be in especially fine form on Sunday, his last start. The majority of his strikeouts came on that pitch. A season high 8 punch-outs, in fact. Two outs, nobody on for Frazier. And Felix ahead, 0-2. Felix made just one start last year against these White Sox. It was a beauty. He worked into the 8th inning, only 1 run in a Mariners win, and it was a delightful pitching matchup. It was Felix versus Chris Sale. Sale, who just recently started the All-Star game for the American League. The 1-2.
So far for Felix, 14 pitches, 10 strikes for him. These are the numbers for Frazier. 0 for his last 11, 6 strikeouts. Will certainly be the case with him. He's going to try to hit the ball out of the ballpark, but he will swing and miss.
Once more, the 1-2.
Good pitch.
Now the White Sox have now lost 5 of their last 6, dating back to the final days of the first half. Over Seager's head into left field and into the corner. Second extra base hit this inning for the White Sox. Cabrera, the leadoff home run. Now Frazier, 2-out double.
This is going to be on the curveball. We talked about it. Not a bad pitch. It's going to be towards the outside corner. You can see he catches it right towards the end of the bat. Well, hooking line drive. Isn't it particularly hard? But Felix able to get it to the outside corner and at the knees.
Now facing Tyler Saladino, the second baseman for the White Sox. Starts him off with strike 1. Saladino, who has immediately vaulted into top 5 mustaches in the game, at least among active players. Frazier at second base with 2 outs. Felix ahead 0-2. A couple of years ago we saw Saladino at third for the White Sox. Then of course they went out and got Todd Frazier. Saladino, a guy who can play a little bit all over the place, now at second base for Chicago.
It sounds like his future is going to be as a utility player, but you mentioned we saw him some at third and pretty good at second base too. Can swing it.
Valencia coasting over in foul territory, and he puts it away to end the inning. Frazier stranded at second, but a run in. Melky Cabrera's leadoff home run, his 11th of the season. 1-0 lead as we start the top of the second. But while the Mariners hit the field, your youngsters can hit the playfield. Stop by the Seattle Children's Playfield next time you're at the ballpark, where your kids can enjoy a playground. I wish you well and a whole lot more. Middle third of the order due up for the Mariners. It begins with Nelson Cruz. Line right to Anderson. Can't hit it much harder. 1 out.
Defense positioned well. Aaron mentioned you can't square it up anymore, but right at Anderson. Barely get a step out of the batter's box before this ball was caught.
Guessing Anderson appreciated when his infield coach lined him up at the cut of the grass in the outfield when Nelson was at the plate.
Bet that he did. One of the things that's been interesting is you look at a couple of veteran hitters in the Mariners lineup so far, and that is Nelson Cruz, who we just saw. Robinson Cano ended the first. Both of them swinging at the first pitch, trying to get after his fastball. Sometimes you will do that because you look at the overall numbers, and we mentioned his curveball has been an excellent pitch for him. Opponents hitting under 100 off of his curveball, so they're trying to keep him from getting to it by being aggressive on the fastball early.
The 0-1 on the way to Seager. And for Pelfrey and the curveball, this is not a case of it's a pitch that he does not throw a lot. This is a pitch that he uses and has used with tremendous success.
Yeah, in his last start, his last outing, he went 20% of his pitches were the curveball. Overall in the season, it's about 14. He also uses splitter quite a bit at 17, but I think just watching him tonight, maybe he'll mix it up a little bit more. The Mariners certainly expect him to.
Inside 1-2 on Seager. Look at what left-handed hitters like Seager have done this year. Kyle's looking out to the outfield. Looked like Engel and Cabrera were having a meeting of the minds. It looks like some sunglasses from
Adam Engel. Adam Engel, the center fielder, handed off the sunglasses to Cabrera.
What a guy. Weak grounder. Maybe the veteran gets that kind of treatment, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
But you look at left-handers against Pelfrey this year, they're slugging 500. Put that number in context a little bit. Joey Gallo is slugging 504. Slow curveball.
His curveball on average this year is right around 70 miles an hour. That one is 67. Early in the ballgame, both starters throwing a lot of strikes. Pelfrey, 16 pitches, 13 strikes for him.
Another 2-2 pitch to Seager. In towards the corner. This is flirting with the foul pole. It is fair. It is gone for a home run. Seager's 11th of the season has tied this game of the second. We were mentioning something about slugging by left-handers against Pelfrey.
That's exactly right, and a pretty good swing by Kyle Seager. This is not a bad pitch. It's going to be a fastball. You can see him set up on the inside corner at the belt, and Kyle able to stay inside it to keep it fair. More importantly, it's a towering home run out to right field, but most of the time when a pitch hits that area, the hitters will pull it foul. In fact, Kyle just missed a home run last night, just fouled, but clearly a fair ball.
Pelfrey trying to use some momentum there with the upper half to bend that ball foul. One ball and 1 strike to Valencia. So both sides swapping solo homers in this game so far.
see Danny 2 for 3 in his career against Pelfrey. And he had a double last night, hit a curveball off the fence in left center field.
You know, Mike, to get back to Kyle for a moment, I'm not sure how Kyle feels about it, but I think Kyle would be the first to say that the first half is not exactly what Kyle was hoping for, and that the Kyle Seager that we have seen in recent years is still there. And I'm going to have to think that getting up to a pretty hot start in the second half would be something that would be on the short list of things to do for Kyle.
Yeah, I think so, but I also think too that it's weird how certain seasons work differently. And if you look at Kyle, and you mentioned the first half, he hasn't had a situation where he's gotten hot for a long period of time. It's kind of been back and forth, and Danny gets a curveball to hit.
This is swatted out to center field, but just enough room in gold right in front of the 400 marker. Allowed out number 2.
And I just think that there's going to be a couple of different times here in the second half where Kyle's going to end up carrying this club offensively, because he's going to get closer to what his average numbers are in his career. He's improved every year. That's not going away for him. Just might be a year where he doesn't hit 30, but I think he's going to be definitely into the 20s with his home run total. So I think he's going to get hot.
2 outs to run in for Mitch Haniger. Did you compartmentalize the first half and the second half into almost separate seasons?
I looked at it more as a month to month. I would evaluate the month that I just had.
A lot of home runs right there.
Really good swing that Kyle put on that fastball.
Frazier backing up a step or 2. Lengthy throw to first base, and Haniger is retired. Kyle Seager's 11th of the season has even this game at 1. One with the solo blast in the top of the second. We go to the home half, but first we look at our CenturyLink What's Next. Another chance to see young Andrew Moore making his 4th major league start. He'll be taking on the veteran lefty Derek Holland. Moore 3 quality starts to begin his career, and he finally walked someone in his last time out. Did not walk a batter his first 2 times out.
Holland's hitting just .218 off of him so far.
Not too bad. We'll be excited to see him tomorrow in the finale. Here's Matt Davidson to lead off the bottom of the second. Going back to that Seager home run, it reminded me of a home run that you have spoken about before in the All-Star game in 1997 off the bat of Edgar Martinez.
I believe that was off of Greg Maddux.
It was.
Yeah, it was a great swing, and again, it's difficult. But when you have Maddux, who had a very good running fastball, and his changeup would run in on your hands too if you were a right-handed hitter, and Edgar was in Cleveland was a fastball that was running in. It was probably borderline in off the plate. And I'm not sure that I've seen maybe 2 other right-handed hitters, maybe, that would hit that ball out of the ballpark and keep it fair, which Edgar was able to do. And to do that, you really have to stay inside of it, because most of the time when the ball's running into you and you get the barrel to it, you're going to hook it somewhat. But for Edgar, he kept it true, and that's exactly what we saw from Kyle. Kyle was a little bit different. It was a fastball that started in off the plate and ran to the corner, but still right inside of him, and you could see him get his hands inside of it and drive it out of the ballpark. 2 really good swings, but for Edgar, that was one of the best swings I've ever seen.
From anybody?
From anybody. Yes.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Davidson, who has knocked 18 home runs so far this year. Not this time. Second strikeout from Felix.
We'll take a look at it. That's the power changeup from Felix. 87 miles an hour. Drops out of the strike zone as he swings right over the top of it. And it's been a very good pitch for him. Had 8 strikeouts in his last outing in the 6 innings that he worked. Most of the strikeouts by the changeup.
Well, last night we saw Tim Anderson leading off. Tonight he's batting 7th, young shortstop for Chicago. And last night we saw Paxton be the master of the first pitch strike. Same story here for Felix, all but 1 batter so far. And that was Cabrera who hit the home run to begin the ball game. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Buries a changeup. Back-to-back strikeouts for Felix to open up the bottom of the second. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners.
We're talking about Felix in the first pitch strike. So far 27 pitches, 20 strikes overall. And he's somebody that constantly makes adjustments. I think maybe he looks at his last 3 outings where he walked 3, walked 4, and walked 3. That's not what he was doing earlier in the season. So being a little bit more aggressive here early in the strike zone.
This helps to save the pitch count a little bit. First pitch, pop foul to Valencia. 9-pitch inning for the King with a couple of strikeouts mixed in. Sox are tied at 1. We open up the top of the third inning. That's where Gerard Dyson begins things for the Mariners. First pitch in play. Anderson right over the bag at second. He's been busy so far, the White Sox shortstop. 1 out. Saturday, July 22nd is Salute to Native American Night when the Mariners meet the Yankees at 6:10. The Mariners and EQC will celebrate the vibrant Native American culture in our region. Plus, the first 10,000 fans 21 and over take home a Mariners fedora. Tickets at mariners.com. Mariners swinging early so far here tonight against Pelfrey. Dyson another example of that. As Ruiz looks at strike one. Mike, it was interesting last night watching James Paxton get to start for the Mariners and pitch very well. And one thing that was very evident to all watching the amount of foul balls off of Paxton. And you made the comment of maybe Paxton developing that changeup a little bit more or something along those lines to help in that regard. And great chat with former Cy Young Award winner and now the analyst on TV for the White Sox, Steve Stone, who, as we learned from Stoney, not only did he have a curveball which he threw a ton, he threw it at 3 different speeds. You can see Steve on the left there.
Yeah, he was talking about that. He said he had a difficult time throwing a changeup, to where eventually his changeup turned into a split. That was irritating his elbow, so he decided to throw his curveball at different speeds. And again, the point to it all was for James, there's so many foul balls that could not hit him, but it was costing him on his pitch count. And that's why I was saying that maybe as he continues to move on, because if you look at his stuff last night, it was excellent. He was mid to upper 90s, pitching inside effectively, had the great curveball going. But again, it was the foul balls. And that's not unlike a lot of power pitchers, especially if they're going to hit the ball in the air. But as he moves forward, it was one of the things I thought was maybe the changeup. Bill Kruger, who we talked about, recommended maybe a 2-seamer. Not that he needs to change anything this year, because he's just terrific, but it's just one of those things that I'll make adjustments on. And it was interesting listening to Stone talk about changing the different speeds of his curveball and talking about, what was it, 62 to 67 or somewhere in that
low
range.
60s to upper 60s, 3 different variations.
Yeah, it was interesting. And he felt that by changing the speeds of it, you could be looking for the curveball and he would still be able to get you out because he's changing the speeds. And of course, we got into your favor. You started talking about spin rate and how to throw the curveball, and you got real excited about that.
I had to say, timeout, I got to record this.
But James had an excellent curveball last night, and Stoney also acknowledged that and really liked him a lot.
0-2 to Segura, reaching across the plate for very quick top of the 30 pitches for Pelfrey as we go to the home half. 15% or more on car insurance. Buy Steel. To find your local Steel dealer, visit steeldealers.com. And by Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. Happy you're with us here tonight. A beautiful night from Chicago. Aaron Goldsmith, Mike Flowers, our entire Root Sports crew. As we make our way to the bottom of the third inning, Felix, a very quick and tidy 9-pitch second with a couple of strikeouts. Facing the number 9 hitter, center fielder Adam Engel.
His total so far 28 pitches, 21 strikes.
And another first pitch strike.
Time with a slider.
The rarest of pitches for Felix. Off the hands and lifted foul. Really, when it all comes down to it, Mike, for Felix, you mentioned the strike totals out of his total number of pitches. For Felix, it's just command. When the velocity is plenty.
I think his velocity has been just fine this year. Again, we've seen him in his last couple of outings. He's been 91 to 93 miles an hour.
Right up the heel of the glove with Segura. An error on the Mariners shortstop leads off the bottom of the third.
We'll take a look at it. Segura aggressively charging the ball because Engel can get down the line. And that goes right off the thumb of his glove. A rare error for him. It's that way, I think, with most pitchers. You know, you have nights, and when Felix, certainly when he was breaking in, he was 95 to 97. You can get away with more in the middle of the plate. He's certainly aware of that. But he still has plus stuff. I'm talking about his fastball at 91, 92 in the movement. You can go back a couple of years. The velocity was still the same, and he was terrific. But maybe it's the curveball. Maybe that hasn't been there this year. His changeup is good. I'd look at it, for me, more than anything, it's been health. I think that if you're breaking up your season, especially for somebody that has constantly been out there going 200 plus innings every year, and then all of a sudden you're dealing with some health issues, it makes it more difficult to be consistent. And that's why you look at what he has done coming off the DL this year. He's gone 6 innings in every outing, but I feel that he's trending to getting better every time out. And again, it goes back to the great changeup he has, the feel that he has for his breaking ball, reading the batters, all those different things come into play for him. And then when he starts locating, that's when you have outings like he had in his last outing where he just gives up 2 hits.
2 hits over 6 scoreless, a season high 8 strikeouts last time out for Felix against the A's at home. He's facing Cabrera for the second time. Melky, the home run to begin the first inning earlier tonight. So Cabrera, the 10th batter faced for Felix, and this is already his 7th 0-2 count. Engel leading off first. There he goes. Pitch a ball. Ruiz down to second base, and Engel is safe. 5th steal in 6 tries. See if Scott wants to take a look at this.
It's pretty close, and I think that the Mariners did everything they possibly could. Felix gets it to home plate in good shape. A quick throw, accurate throw by Ruiz. And you see the tag. I think maybe he was able to get his foot in there, tagged him up on his knee. Yeah, he's in. They're not going to challenge it.
The 1-2. Full count. Ruiz loses it. Engel, who reached on an error, advanced to second on the steal, now on to third on a wild pitch.
And we'll take a look at the wild pitch. That's the changeup, set up away, and just kind of pulling across the plate with that one. And Ruiz was not able to get in front of it. Early in the game, nobody out. Looks like the Mariners will play their infield back.
single scores, and it is Melky Cabrera 2, and the Mariners 1.
And this looks like it's going to be the curveball. They want it down out of the strike zone, but Felix leaves it up, probably belt high out over the plate, just out of the reach of Cano.
The home run now, an RBI single by Cabrera. Avisail Garcia, a strikeout on a changeup back in the first. I'm thinking about Garcia, Mike, an all-star this year. The first thought that came to mind was, you know what? Garcia has finally put it together. A guy who made his major league debut at a young age from Venezuela, made his debut with the Tigers, and was kind of seen as, at the time, it's a little premature for anybody, was the Miguel Cabrera 2.0, mostly because of his build, and they were playing in the same team, the same lineup. And then I got to thinking, well, you know what? He's only 26, right? He made his major league debut at 21. Sometimes it takes a little time.
Takes a little bit of time, and you mentioned his size, probably 6'4", 240 in that range, and can really run. Surprisingly, he can get down the line and cover some ground in the outfield. Strong throwing arm. And I think what everybody was waiting on was for the power to show up. But he's been a little more consistent this year. Comes into the game hitting .313 with 11 home runs. I saw him last night. I think it was in his last at bat. He really ended up getting jammed. So we'll see if the thumb bruise that he ended up getting from that is going to affect his swing.
Yeah, previous injury that was aggravated a little bit last night. Felix has fallen behind 2-0. Make it 3-0. Abreu on deck. Foul down by left field.
All 4 pitches in this at bat in off the plate, trying to jam him up. They're certainly aware of scouting reports and understand that that thumb is hurting him.
Throw handled by Valencia. White Sox have taken the lead back here at the bottom of the third. Now 3-2 on Garcia. Felix a chance for his 4th strikeout in his last start. We mentioned the 8 strikeouts. He passed the great Hall of Famer Juan Marichal on the all-time strikeout list. Now 49th all-time for Felix. In the top 50 as a 31-year-old. Ruiz out for a visit. Felix is now 3 strikeouts away from tying the next man on the list. I'm not sure if this carries quite the same cachet, although he is a Hall of Famer. A household name, the great Rube Waddell is next on the list.
It will be interesting to watch him in his career and where he ends up all time. You mentioned his age, just 31 years old. Looking for a double play right here.
Has had 6 turned behind him in 9 starts.
staying in on his hands. 6 pitches, all of them inside.
Now nods. Nobody out, a man on, and a run in. Ground ball, but up the middle. Well, he got the ground ball, but not where he wanted it. 16 pitches thrown by Felix without getting it out, although an error has been mixed in.
And they're set up away. The only pitch away the entire at bat. He has it down, as Aaron mentioned. He gets the ground ball. Been able to roll over just a little bit more. He would have hit it right to Segura, but unfortunately it works its way back up the middle. And Felix, a couple of runners on. White Sox this year 1 for 2 so far in the game, runners in scoring position, but on the year at the start of the game hitting .266 overall. Exact same average as the Mariners with runners in scoring position.
Two on in front of Jose Abreu. It is odd coming to Chicago this late in the season and seeing someone other than Jose Abreu leading the White Sox in home runs. But that is the case. Matt Davidson with 18, Abreu with 16. But hitting nearly 300 entering tonight. Hits him. Bases are loaded with nobody out.
And Stottlemyre going to make a trip out to the mound. And we'll take a look at it. Hits him right off the elbow, maybe the tricep. That looked like a breaking ball that just got away from him, backed up, maybe slipped out of his hand. Not much bite to it. It's amazing. Watch games all the time, and Felix looked like he was going to be really good and things were going well, and then the one error happens and now all of a sudden you have some struggles. A couple of hits, now you hit a batter, get the bases loaded, still nobody out.
Well, the error on a ball put in play by Engel, who then stole second base, advanced to third on a wild pitch from Felix, and then scored on the single by Cabrera. Bases are loaded with nobody out, now facing Todd Frazier, who doubled in his first at bat tonight.
One of the things that Felix has been one of the best at it in his career is working out of trouble. I think right now, again, if he can get the double play ball, he'll end up giving up a run. I think he'll take the 2 outs, especially with the way the Mariners offense has been rolling.
Frazier with 16 home runs this year, but hitting for a low average. Felix now ready. Inside again.
Felix now 20 pitches in the inning. Still nobody out through 28 pitches to get through the first 2 innings.
The 2-1. 2-2.
A good slider right on the outside corner. Seen the slider a little bit more today, probably because of all the right-handed hitters in the lineup.
It has been a good pitch for him this year when he has used it. Bases loaded, nobody out. Weak ground ball to Seager. Coming home with it. Ruiz gets the force down to first, not in time. There is out number one. Cabrera out at home. Well, time now to take a look at our Geico this date in big league history. We go back to the year 1980 when Johnny Bench passes Yogi Berra for the most home runs ever from a catcher. He would finish his career with 389 in 17 big league seasons, all with the Reds. Mike, an old guy you watched a lot growing up.
Big Red Machine, you betcha.
One out bag still packed. First pitch to Saladino.
Saladino popped out to first his first time up. Felix able to jam him with a good fastball. Tried it again, just missed the inside corner.
Well, after just simply living ahead of hitters over the first 2 innings, Felix has found himself behind the count. It feels like more times than not this inning.
I was a little bit disappointed after that last pitch. It looked like a pretty good pitch. Another slider. It looked like it was on the plate and above the knees. Just didn't get the call. It's a big difference.
There's the strike.
Almost in the same spot.
Vic Carapazza, our home plate umpire in his 7th season. Postseason All-Star each of the postseason umpire rather each of the last 3 years. The 2-1. Popped up. Felix wanted everybody to stay clear. He handles it himself. And now 2 outs.
Again, able to jam him right off of his hands. A weak pop up. It's not hit very high, so he knows right away that the corner infielders, Seager and Valencia, would have a tough time getting to it, so he just takes it himself.
Felix a chance to escape here, but having to face Matt Davidson, leading the White Sox with 18 home runs. Struck out on a changeup to begin the 2nd inning. We play in the 3rd.
So here comes Robinson Cano. He sees the same thing. Felix like he had a little bit of an issue with his right quad after he threw that pitch. Shaking his leg a little bit, and then he was hitting his fist on it some, so it appears that he's fine. He certainly reacted that way. Take a look at the last pitch. Just a fastball off the plate away, and you can see right away in this quad a bit of an issue, and Robbie's watching him closely. And that's when he decides to come in and find out if he's okay.
Into center field. Dyson has room.
Pretty fancy pitching right there to get out of that inning.
Fine work by the King. He escapes the jam. Bases loaded, nobody out. As Cano will come up as we go to the 4th inning. here in Chicago. Take a look at the Mariners calendar brought to you by Mattress Firm. This series wraps up tomorrow. Some day baseball from Chicago. Then it's on to Houston for 3 games. Wednesday will be a day game. And then a lengthy homestand coming up. We hope to see you out at Safeco Field. 4 games against the Yankees, 3 against the Red Sox before a day off. And then the Mets, some interleague play will be here. Looks like I'm going to talk with Felix about that quad maybe a little bit. First pitch strike to Ben Gamel.
Well, nobody's getting loose in the bullpen. I think for right now he's going to be okay. Pelfrey, he had a quick 3rd inning, top of the 3rd against the Mariners. A 1-2-3 third, a couple of groundouts and a strikeout. And then with Felix out there, the last inning he had to sit for 20 minutes. So we'll see if he's as sharp as he has been so far. Quickly ahead of Gamel.
Now Pelfrey 8 pitches in the 1st, 8 pitches in the 3rd. Still 0-2.
Ben Gamel, what a story he was in the 1st half. He swung the bat well. Great defense. Into the game today, hitting .322 overall.
Oh, we just talked about the homestand coming up, and the Yankees coming to Safeco Field for 4 games. Gamble making his major league debut with the Yankees. Played in the minors in AAA with Aaron Judge.
He'd probably like to have a big series. What do you think?
I think so. He's there with Gary Sanchez as well. The 1-2. I don't think Ben's hair would be quite as long if he was still in the Bronx.
Very good call. I think you're right about that. Ben making him work. This will be the 7th pitch. Just with that fastball in off the plate.
Full count to Ben. Cano and then Cruz. Again, to put it in context, this plate appearance so far for Gamble, this will be pitch number 8, the total of the 3rd inning and also the 1st inning for Pelfrey. Pitch number 9 to Gamble. He draws a leadoff walk. Fine plate appearance there by Ben Gamble. Sunday, July 23rd, thanks to Comcast, all kids 14 and under will take home a book titled Rise of King Felix. Then following the Mariners-Yankees game, they'll be invited to hit the field, run around the bases. You can pick up tickets for the entire family by simply going to mariners.com. There is the King. Mariners have the leadoff man aboard for the 2nd time. Cano, the go-ahead run. Robbie is now in his 13th big league season. You look at the averages for Cano over the course of his career, and this, of course, includes this season, not obviously a full season at this point. Robbie averaging .305 on his batting average a year, 25 home runs, 97 RBIs, and a mere 41 doubles. And this is year number 13.
Great career he's having. Thought it was interesting, and we showed it at the start of the game. Robbie last night in his 1st at bat, taking a bunch of pitches, eventually walked. In his 2nd at bat, he hits the 1st pitch out of the ballpark for a 3-run home run. Well, tonight he swings at the 1st pitch and grounds out to the shortstop. Now he's working the count a little bit, so maybe it goes the other way tonight and he hits a 2-run homer right here. Why not? He's been hot. Again, he's homered his last 4 road games, 5 if you include the All-Star game.
know I've made mention of this before, but it's worth revisiting. When I asked Robbie about this last year and how it was A.J. Hinch who said, you just don't know how to pitch to this guy because of what you just said.
Right.
When I mentioned that to Cano, he just gave me that $1 million smile and said, it's working.
That's exactly what he wants to hear. That is exactly right. Like you just mentioned the numbers in his career. He's obviously very talented, but he's super smart too and understands what he can do and what he likes to handle and takes care of his business. It's a pretty good game plan on a nightly basis.
And this might not be worth making too big of a deal out of, Mike. You know better than I do, but if you came to the ballpark to watch Robbie a couple of times a year, you wouldn't know if he was in the midst of a 20-game hitting streak or if he was 0 for his last 20.
I think it's a big deal. I think the way that he carries himself on a daily basis, regardless of how it's going, is a big deal. Not as much for him and his ability to put the numbers up that he does, but for everybody else around him. Basically staying on an even keel, because during a season you're going to have winning streaks, you're going to have losing streaks, and when you're in those losing streaks it becomes really difficult. And when you're in the winning streaks, there's those highs up there where you think you're going to win every night. And I think when you have some veteran guys that are leaders on your club, and he certainly is that, puts the numbers up, but his demeanor's the same all the time, I think it has an impact. And I think it's especially true when things aren't going well, because everybody looks right at him every day when he walks into the clubhouse.
Gamble at first base. Pelfrey working from the stretch for the first time tonight. Smith throwing down to first base, and Gamble is safe.
Pretty good throw by Smith, getting a good secondary lead, but paying attention. You get back, diving to the back corner of the base, making a little bit longer tag for Abreu, the first baseman.
Pelfrey taking a little more time working out of the stretch. There goes Gamble.
Pretty good jump. Something we talked about. Ben runs well. As far as running the bases, fundamentally he's one of the best on the team. I think he has the ability to go out and steal 20 bases in a season. Second half, just before the second half ended, he started to run, stole a couple of bases, and I think they'd like to see a little more of that from him.
Another move. That's kind of one of the things that makes Gamble so exciting, is that we obviously still don't have a full grasp as to how high of a ceiling Ben Gamble has.
That's a great point. Scott Service thinks that as his career progresses, he'll hit for a little more power. 4 home runs for him on the year. Maybe more gap to gap. Extra base hits. The Mariners starting to work on Pelfrey. You mentioned the 2 innings, the first and third, where he threw 8 pitches, where he threw 9 to Gamble, and now this will be the 8th to Cano.
Cruz waiting his turn on deck. Gamble breaking again. Getting out of play. Cabrera chasing after it, but a foul ball. This next pitch will be the 18th this inning for Pelfrey. Both Gamble and Cano have fouled off 3 pitches with 2 strikes. to second base. Not in time as Gamble beats it out with the break that he got. That keeps the Mariners out of the double play.
Let me take a look at it. Saladino gets rid of it quick and has a lot on the throw to Anderson, the shortstop at second base. Gamble takes off with the pitch, looking back inside to see where the ball is, slides, and I think he beat it.
And the White Sox save play on. Nelson Cruz hit one right on the screws on the first pitch that he saw from Pelfrey back in the second inning, but it was lined right to Anderson at shortstop.
It was on a first pitch fastball, and he was looking for that fastball again. Looked like a slider off the plate away.
You look at Cruz this year, and it brings up really, I think, what many people would agree, maybe not, that it's a pretty fascinating conversation, Mike, about RBIs and the value of RBIs in baseball right now. And some people would like to discredit them somewhat, and to some degree I can understand, because to drive in runs it takes the right opportunity, right? You have to have guys on the bases.
Yes, of course.
But if you really look into the numbers for Cruz this year, he's been one of the best RBI men in baseball with 70 on the season. He was behind in the count 0-2. It's fascinating to look at how Nelson Cruz has been among the game's leaders in terms of plate appearances with runners in scoring position. But if you look at some guys who have been up there with him, as apparently Nelly still was with Milwaukee for a little while.
208 years.
This is an inside joke that we're missing out on, or maybe just a typo. Time is called. One of the names that stood out to me, Edwin Encarnacion.
Yeah.
42 home runs last year. You would think of him as a major run producer. If you look at his numbers this year in the same situation, plate appearances with runners in scoring position, and he is among the game's leaders in those opportunities. At the All-Star break, Mike, he was hitting beneath 200, a ton of strikeouts. So it takes two. It takes the opportunity, and you got to be able to cash in. And now these numbers in these situations are off the charts.
Hitting 365 with runners in scoring position. I'll take that. When you think of him as a slugger because he hits 40 home runs a year, he's a good hitter. We've talked about that over the last couple of years. I mean, depending on situations and pitchers, he'll hit the ball the other way, knowing that a base hit is good enough, especially if he's behind in the count. He knows his main job is to drive the ball and hit it out of the ballpark. But he's just a good hitter for me. And I think that's what separates him.
He has Gamble with good speed at second base, the tying run. Swing and a miss for strike three. First strikeout for Pelfrey. Make it the second. Our CenturyLink What's Next, as we will have a chance to see Andrew Moore tomorrow. His first road start. His first three starts have all been at Safeco Field. He'll be going up against Derek Holland. Holland, who got off to a blazing hot start this year. His numbers have really tapered. His last 7 starts, an ERA over 10. The Dutch oven. It's like Engel gets his sunglasses back from Cabrera. Took a mound visit to broker that deal in the outfield. Don Cooper, the longtime pitching coach for the White Sox.
Well, I know that they already went over the scouting report on Kyle Seager. Kyle with the home run, his first time up back in the second inning, a solo home run to right. And I don't know what those conversations are. Maybe be really careful. You have a right-hander hitter in Valencia waiting on deck, or what they want to do right here. start him off with a breaking ball, like a curveball.
A lot of damage done for Seager against the White Sox. One ball and 1 strike.
For Kyle, he's 1 double away from 200 in his career. This would be a good time for it. So far, 3 pitches, all of them off speed pitches. Kyle hit a fastball in the inside corner his first time up out of the ballpark, and Pelfrey has stayed away from that pitch. So maybe that was their scouting report, wanted to move away from it, change it up. Next pitch will be 60. Two pretty good curveballs. Been his best pitch this year. Again, opponents hitting just 0.77 on the curveball. He's gone right to it in this at bat.
Jammed him a little bit. Saladino, the second baseman, makes the catch to end the inning. Gamble, a leadoff walk, is stranded at second base. Pitching for Felix, bases loaded, nobody out, and the King able to get out of the jam.
Well, it's something he's done his entire career. Seager getting the weak ground ball, get the lead runner at home. There's a pop-up right off the hands of Saladino, and Felix calling everybody off. He'll make the catch. And then lastly, the fly ball out to center field to Dyson. Felix has always been one of the best, getting runners out, or getting hitters out with runners in scoring position. But to get out of a bases loaded jam and nobody out, pretty good stuff for Felix.
Well, we asked Felix about this last year, not the bases loaded, but we did ask him about what it's like pitching with runners in scoring position. And it really, his response makes no sense whatsoever. Felix said that he actually is more at ease. He feels more calm on the mound when he has runners at second or third base. This comes up and almost gets Anderson. Then when he does with the bases empty or with the runner only at first base. Maybe if you have the stuff that Felix has, it's a little bit easier to feel that way, but even so.
I think that maybe the ones that are special in this game have that feeling, whether they're on the mound or they're at home plate. I think that you put Robbie out there in a big situation, which he has been in, and they come through. I don't think it phases him at all. I think that they really get into a situation where they're concentrating more on that next pitch in the moment that they're in. And that's a rare thing. Not many guys can do that. In other words, they're not worried what the outcome could possibly be. Just concentrating on that moment.
Ball and 2 strikes on Anderson.
I think another situation too with players, maybe it's just the adrenaline of the moment focuses them. The concentration is there. Yes, they're always trying to concentrate,
but it's almost as a challenge.
Yeah,
that's how it comes across.
Yeah, adrenaline is involved. There's a rush to it. Yeah, sure.
New baseball out to Felix. Tight to the line and a fair ball. Anderson slows up at second base, a leadoff double.
.86 miles an hour on the changeup, right on the inside corner at the knees. Kyle playing well off the line, can't get to it. An easy double for Anderson, who runs well. Back-to-back innings, Felix having to pitch out of some trouble.
5 hits so far for the White Sox, 3 of which have gone for extra bases, a couple of doubles, and the Cabrera home run. That led off the first inning for Chicago. First pitch curveball for a strike to Kevin Smith, the number 8 hitting catcher for the White Sox. We saw only 1 pitch his last at bat. He popped up foul. Oh, 2. Now Felix trying to rebound from a lengthy 29 pitch 3rd inning. That after throwing only 9 pitches in the second. The 0-2. Now the Mariners will have to come from behind in this one tonight. A win this evening would be the Mariners' first series win here in this ballpark since '07. Good stop by Ruiz. Adam Jones was in left field one of those games. That's how long ago we're talking. Jim Thome DH'd for the White Sox.
Felix has given up 5 hits in the game, 4 of them with 2 strikes.
Was ahead 0-2, now full count.
Three strikeouts in the game for him.
Cuts right through it. Good fastball, 4th strikeout for Felix tonight. Right now we'll go back to the Ford Sports Desk and check in with Tom. Thank you, Tom. 1 out, Anderson at second base after the double. Here's Adam Engel. Felix keeping an eye on Anderson. Strike one.
Another slider from Felix, again using that pitch more. When you look at the White Sox today, the leadoff hitter Cabrera, a switch hitter, everybody else right-handed. He uses breaking ball a little bit more.
Went back to it 1-1. Felix falls behind 2 balls and a strike to Engel, the number 9 hitter, who reached on an error from Segura in the 3rd inning, the only run that scored that frame. Bangs it back. Felix falling behind now 3-1. That's back-to-back 3-ball counts.
Defense is playing straight up. Cano holding the runner at second base. So Felix now 72 pitches overall. 46 strikes for him.
Watch out, Felix, as Robbie is there for the double play. And Felix taking a big, deep breath of relief. The crown is still intact. And Felix doing okay after our Big Fish Casino big catch.
This will get your attention. Line drive right back at him. Slicing line drive right to Cano for the double play to end the inning. Yeah, Felix had to catch his breath after that one. That was close. He looks to be fine, though.
Danny Valencia leads off the 5th.
Flew off to the warning track in center field his first time up.
We all know the struggle for Danny in the month of April. And since the calendar turned to May, Danny has been a 300 hitter. with a very high on base percentage. Technically hitting .302 since the start of May.
That came in the game today, hitting .273 overall because of the struggle in April. But since then, as Aaron mentioned, hitting over 300. Has played excellent defense all year. Behind in the count here. Just missed a home run in last night's game. Hit a double off the left center field fence.
Beautiful night here in Chicago. Middle game of the series. Mariners winning last night. To Anderson, who can't scoop it up. It's into center field. Like a play that Anderson would make routinely. It is an error, a leadoff error to put Valencia aboard.
Off the heel of his glove for Anderson, his 20th error on the year. And the White Sox are 14th in fielding percentage. So when you look at this series overall, you would hope that the Mariners could take advantage of that.
That is the most errors of any player in the game. Leadoff man reaches for the second straight inning. And that's Mitch Haniger. Smith and Valencia into second base.
Wild pitch.
The first is here for Pelfrey.
Pitch grounded out to third his first time up. Mariners not many opportunities so far tonight to score. Just 0 for 2.
Showing bunts. Foul.
I don't think he was necessarily sacrificing there. I think he was trying to bunt for a hit. Ended up throwing him out. It would still move up the runner. Mariners as a team hitting .266 with runners in scoring position, which is much better than what we've seen over the last few years. Pretty good pitch for him to try to hit the ball the other way, and that's exactly what he tried to do. Stay inside of it. Fouling it off.
Valencia at second base, reached on the air, advanced on the wild pitch. Ball and 2 strikes to Haniger. Does it make sense to say, Mike, that that number that you just mentioned with runners in scoring position, that number would look even better when the Mariners hit home runs at a rate that it seems like they eventually will this year?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be tremendous for them. You look at the numbers that they put up last year, the amount of home runs that they hit. It's interesting how the game is played today and some of the changes that have been made. And I don't think you would necessarily bunt sacrifice in this situation anyway. You're still early in the game's 5th inning. You're only down 1 run. You don't want to give up outs. But that being said, most of the time they don't want to bunt and give up outs, and Scott certainly doesn't like to do it a lot. So they would ask you to hit the ball the other way. But Lou Piniella, when I played for Lou, would say once you get 2 strikes, he just wanted you to hit and not worry about trying to hit the ball the other way, so that if you make an out, it's a productive out and you move up the runner. He wants you at that point to just try to get a base hit, get the inning going, maybe drive in the run. If it goes to the right side, okay. And I would think that that's especially true in today's game. You're not looking to sacrifice bunt. as much as they used to, then certainly they're not asking you to give yourself up as much hitting the ball the other way.
Frazier charging, trying to go with the bare hand. He does. Almost a collision at first. Haniger is out.
I have to say that is a tremendous play on both sides of it, but there's also some luck involved in it. We'll start with Frazier. Scott Servais is not sure that Abreu kept his foot on the bag, but this ball is going to take and kick left on him. He makes a late adjustment. Look at that bare hand, almost an in-between hop. Gets rid of it. Abreu have to adjust coming across, and it looks like his foot is on the base. That is a great play all the way around, and there's also some bad luck for the Mariners involved in it, but tremendous for the White Sox. It's running hard the entire way and trying to avoid a collision. I don't blame him. Abreu, a big man at first. But this ball again is going to kick away from him, and that is unreal.
He's throwing a circle change over to first.
Yeah, that's unreal. It's a great play. Give him some credit.
One out, Valencia into third now.
Also, I have to say it was good base running by Danny Valencia. You're taught if the ball is hit on the left side to hold your ground, but he read that Frazier was going to have to come and get it. He took off right away to get himself to third. Middle of the diamond playing about halfway. The corner's playing up.
Pelfrey wants to talk. That play from Frazier, as that was developing in real time, the thought came, this is one of those plays that you say, well, he had to go with the bare hand, right? I mean, he
had no choice.
Couldn't make the play, had to go with the bare hand.
Had no choice.
Can't fault him.
Do or die across the board, and a great play. How he was able to catch it and hang on to it, it's difficult. And then you mentioned it. It looked like he had a changeup grip and was able to get it across the diamond, and a great adjustment by Abreu at first.
They're tending to Mitch. Looked like early in that at bat, we saw him step out and shake his hand a little bit. Inside, almost gets Dyson. Tying run 90 feet from home. And it picks off Valencia.
Foul ball, fortunately. He's in foul territory right there. Here comes the pitch. The ball is hit, and it looks like he's in foul territory to me. They hit him in the calf, and well, here's a better look at it. You can see it right here. Here's the line drive. He's in foul territory right there. It looks like it hits him on the back of the leg as he's trying to get out of the way of it. Phil Cuzzy, the third base umpire, right on top of it, and I think they had the call right.
Yeah.
One of the other things that was unusual, I was watching it, I didn't notice it the first time, but Frazier, the third baseman, is almost holding Danny on like a first baseman would. And it's because of the ability for Dyson to bunt. He's trying to keep him as close to third. And I don't know that I've ever seen that before. Watch him as they get set. Maybe not as much now with 2 strikes on Dyson, but when he hit that foul ball down there, he was almost standing on top of third base. Still pretty close, though.
Full count to Dyson. Ruiz on deck. Valencia the tying run at third here at the top of the 5th. Pelfrey's 3-2. Dropping, no man's land, and Garcia able to pedal in and make the catch. Out number 2. Celebrate the Mariners' 40th anniversary with a must-have giveaway for every Mariners fan. Saturday, July 29th is USS Mariner Day, when the first 15,000 fans take home a replica version of the boat that sat atop the Kingdome outfield wall in the 80s. Visit Mariners.com for tickets. Do you remember that, Mike, as a fan, especially?
Yes, yes, I do. That says Mariner. I remember as a kid when I would go to the Kingdome and get some ice cream in that Mariner helmet and hope that somebody would hit a home run so I could see the ship shoot the cannon off.
Now that had to be pretty loud inside the Kingdome, right?
Very. And there was a little bit of smoke too. There's Edgar. He hit a few home runs in the Kingdome.
Don Cooper out for another visit. Pelfrey really kind of cruised to the first 3 innings to give up the home run to Seager, but the pitch count was very low. Averaged just about 10 pitches per inning. 11, in fact, over the first 3 frames. And it has been a labor the last 2 innings. 46 pitches the last inning and 2/3. Now the Mariners try not to waste the tying run at third base now with 2 outs. Here is Ruiz. Good stop by Smith. It was a wild pitch that got Valencia into second base after reaching on an error. Dan Jennings warming up inside the bullpen, one of 2 lefties for the White Sox.
Talked about it with Pelfrey. He struggles to get deep into a ball game now at 80 pitches.
Hard hit left side and through. This game is tied thanks to Carlos Ruiz. Valencia scores and we're even at 2.
For Ruiz, hitting .323 in his career against Pelfrey, and he gets a fastball in the middle of the plate, barrels it up, hits it through the left side of the infield. See, Anderson was actually playing him to pull the ball, still not able to get to it. And a clutch base hit.
Segura for the 3rd time. Looks at ball 1.
Let's go, Gene!
Ruiz taken off.
Taking advantage of it.
Behind his ankles into right field. The Mariners have runners on the corners.
I'm not sure that was designed. Typically, you're not going to put a hit and run on with 2 outs, but Ruiz taking off, and Segura typically can put anything in play. Saladino, the second baseman, is going to go cover, and it opens up the entire right side of the infield. This pitch is on the outside corner. Great. Looking forward to hearing about that after the game. Ruiz in motion.
That is it for Pelfrey. Dan Jennings, a left-hander, coming on. He will face Ben Gamble. The fifth, all tied at 2. Mike Pelfrey not lasting a full 5 innings here tonight. Here's his final line.
Not just 4 hits, 4 2/3, but 83 pitches. Mariners scoring a couple of runs, just one of them earned. And Jennings will take over. Good fastball for Jennings. His average fastball 92 miles an hour. Also has a slider. He pitched in last night's ball game. 42 appearances overall. ERA just over 4. Opponent's hitting .239 against him. He has given up 5 home runs.
Tough left on left guy. Only 1 extra base hit to a left-handed hitter this year. Gamble a chance to drive in the go-ahead run here in the 5th. Strike 1.
Should be a pretty good matchup then, because Gamble hitting .339 against lefties this year.
Way off the plate, a ball and a strike.
Engel, the center fielder for the White Sox, playing towards left center. Cabrera, the left fielder, towards the line, so they expect him to hit the ball the other way in the air.
Gamble behind.
Back-to-back sliders.
Ruiz at third base, Segura at first. One-two coming home. Segura breaking on a ball in the dirt. And Gene tiptoes into second base easily. Smith had no chance. Two runners in scoring position now for Gamble. Long hold. And the 2-2 lofts it out to Garcia, angling to the gap, and he's able to gallop over and make the catch. The Mariners strand 2, but Carlos Ruiz ties this game up. We're even at 2. Make their way to the bottom of the 5th. Cheer on the team, then round your way home with a Sound Transit Day Pass. Learn more by simply going to soundtransit.org. Long time down once again for Felix.
16 minutes the previous inning, then this last inning 19 minutes long, so plenty of rest for Felix in between innings. They worked pretty hard tonight. 73 pitches, 40 of them out of the stretch. He's been able to keep the score down. Third time through the lineup. Cabrera, the leadoff hitter, here in the bottom of the fifth.
He has driven in both runs for the White Sox, one on a homer to begin the first inning. Nothing at 2. Cabrera's never been a big home run hitter. This almost gets him. However, he has been really a very good on base man. Maybe part of the reason why he is leading off here tonight. A rare chance as a leadoff hitter this year for Cabrera. Almost got him to chase, but an even count now. Still 2-2.
Felix has had a pretty good fastball tonight, 90 to 92 miles an hour. Tried to pitch inside to a lot of the hitters. Again, 8 of them right-handed. Cabrera, the switch hitter in the lineup.
Garcia, the number 2 hitter on deck. The 3-2 and his center, and it drops in front of Dyson. Cabrera is 3 for 3, a home run and 2 singles.
He's going to get a pitch. It's in the middle of the plate at the knees. Like the changeup, was able to go down and dig it out. Solid line drive into center field.
Cabrera at first for Garcia, 1 for 2 tonight, a single into center field back of the third. Gets away from Ruiz. Cabrera into second base.
Had a wild pitch earlier. That'll be a pass ball. Like a running fastball went right off the side of his glove. I'll take a look at Carlos. Set up inside. A lot of movement on that last pitch. Another inning for Felix with a runner in scoring position. He missed it earlier in the ball game in the third inning. He was able to pitch out of a bases loaded, nobody out situation. Fourth inning, a leadoff double, had to pitch around that, was able to do it. And now another leadoff hitter that reaches second base without anybody out.
Up foul. Felix has tried to pitch him inside the entire game.
base hit back up the middle in the third inning. It was the only pitch that he saw that was out over the plate. It was down. It was a ground ball. And Felix was trying to had the ground ball, but he found a hole with it. But again, another fastball in on his hands. Back in there again. Missed his location that time. Ruiz again right underneath his hands.
Weak ground ball back to Felix. Tonight, Cabrera. Garcia making his way to second. Cabrera to third. Well, that certainly changes things here in the fifth.
That'll be an error on Felix.
Talked about it earlier. Garcia, for a big man, runs well, and he's running hard, and a little change up in the air, and Danny kind of gets stuck with Garcia coming down. They're fortunate that there wasn't a collision.
In that situation, you can see Danny set up on the inside part of the field. That's what you're taught to do. Not a good throw by Felix. So the Mariners will have their infield in.
Check to see if he touched first. And he did.
And Scott Service now out of the dugout.
And they will see if in fact he did or not. Tom Howley and our crew chief
Going to take a look at it. We'll take a look. Again, running hard down the line. It clearly steps over it right there. Could not tell if his right foot at the toe hit the front edge of the base. Maybe a better look right here. That was awfully close to a collision. Well, maybe he hit his heel off the back edge of the base, it looked like. Another look at it.
Now misses the front end for sure.
But his heel right there looks like it scrapes over the top, but we'll see. Not sure they've seen enough to change it.
You can see where the Mariners have challenged this. That was very close.
Here's another look. Again, Danny trying to get out of the way. Garcia actually a little bit short of the bag, probably because Danny was standing there. He was also trying to avoid the collision, and here look at the call, and they're going to call him safe.
It was 2 years ago, I think. Chris Davis, his final year in Milwaukee, where he hit a home run for the Brewers, and the opposing team challenged whether or not he ever touched home, and he grazed the plate by the smallest margin of one of his spikes.
Now the infield back.
Abreu is hit for the second time, both times on the first pitch.
The tricep. Mel Stottlemyre Jr. making a trip out to the mound. Abreu doesn't like it. He was hit 2 times in a row. But from Felix's reaction, he certainly didn't want to do that.
Although we praise Felix for his ability to pitch with runners in scoring position and what he did earlier tonight with the bases loaded and nobody out, I don't think he wants to test fate again by hitting Abreu.
No, he would much rather Try to pitch around him if he could, with first base open. But that option now is gone because he's at first base. He'll have to go up to Frazier, who's walking up to the plate. I think Steve Cishek is getting loose in the pen. Felix now at 85 pitches, 55 strikes.
Well, the last time we were in this identical situation, as you can see, Cishek beginning to get loose. Frazier grounded one to Seager. He came home with it to get Cabrera.
Two perfect pitches with his fastball, both of them at 90, right on the corner. Ruiz will have to be on his toes. Probably going to see a changeup here. Heading the count like this, Felix typically will try to throw in the dirt, give him a swing over the top of it.
Ground ball to Segura. On a Cano for one. On to Valencia for two. And they get 2 outs. Cabrera scores. And the White Sox have taken a 3-2 lead.
You mentioned it, all the base runners tonight. Felix on the mound. He's held the White Sox so far 1 for 9. Runners in scoring position. Bring up Saladino. Felix has been able to jam him a couple of times. Weak pop up to first and a pop up to Felix.
We mentioned from time to time the phrase stress pitches, and this tonight feels like the majority for Felix have been somewhat stressful.
Well, I think that they have. Second inning was 1-2-3, but outside of that, they've had runners in scoring position in every inning. Most of it early in the inning. Nobody out or just 1 out.
Well, 50 pitches tonight for Felix from the stretch.
With 90 total, that's a lot.
Garcia, the lone base runner now. Two and one.
One of the things that Felix has done throughout his career. He rarely will give in to a hitter, and he didn't there, coming back with a breaking ball. 2-0. A lot of pitchers will try to locate a fastball, but Felix doesn't necessarily do that. He'll go back to his curveball or his slider. He uses his slider quite a bit today.
Two and two.
Back with a good changeup. You got those hitters counts. 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. Not as much anymore as it used to be. You would think you would get a fastball to hit. It's not the case with Felix out there. Typically, again, he will not give in. He'll throw a breaking ball or his changeup. That last pitch, pretty good changeup, down out of the strike zone.
Felix trying to put it into the 5th. And he does. Ruiz will complete the strikeout. And that ends 5 innings. Felix with 5 punch-outs over 5 frames. When we go to the top of the 6th, we will see Cano, Cruz, and Kyle Seager. We make our way to the top of the 6th inning, 3-2 Chicago. Tune in tomorrow to watch an all-new episode of Mariners All Access. Get exclusive player interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and Mariners stories you just can't find anywhere else. If you missed tomorrow's episode, tune in for re-airs throughout the weekend. Root Sports. For your local programming schedule, visit rootsports.com. Felix, 5 strikeouts, no walks over 5 innings, a couple of unearned runs against his line. Cano begins the 6th. Abreu and Felix talking over. You can see Felix saying, my bad, did not mean to hit you twice. Both times to load the bases. Abreu is not a guy that you want to be upset with you.
I think he understands. Doesn't like it, but I'm sure he understands that he wasn't trying to hit him.
2-0 to Cano. And that's kind of what the look from Abreu the second time would indicate, that he was not pleased but understood the situation.
Right.
For Felix, it's only the second time he's ever hit the same batter twice in a game. And the answer to this very random trivia question,
Yes,
is a former Mariner, John Buck, back in 2011. Robbie ahead 3-0. A 4-pitch walk. Cano, who was on base 3 times last night, reaches for the first time here today. We mentioned this last night. Jennings has been so tough on left-handers. However, left-handers have a better on-base percentage than you might think against Jennings, simply because of ball 4. He has walked his fair share, and he does so here. And that brings out Rick Renteria. We have a Cardinals Chicago bullpen. Nelson Cruz is getting ready to hit. Swarzak, the right-hander, getting loose. The Mariners have the tying run at first. Take a look at our CenturyLink. What's next tomorrow? The series finale. Day baseball here from Chicago. Andrew Moore making his 4th major league start. He has been fantastic to begin his career. Taking on Derek Holland, his first year here in Chicago. He was phenomenal against the Mariners back in May. 1 run, 6 strikeouts over 8 innings. He has not been quite the same pitcher since then, as we take a look at Anthony Swarzak.
35 appearances on the year, 2.41 ERA. Opponents hitting .210 against him. 43 strikeouts in 41 innings. Pretty good number for him. He's been pitching well as of late. His fastball at 95 miles an hour will also mix in a slider with it.
And you can see the home run total, all of 1. The only man to take him deep this year is Mike Trout. Cano at first after the walk. Here is Cruz. Looking at ball one. Tough numbers for Cruz against Swarzak in his career, but a homer. Rolled a strike. You can see Nelson not too pleased with that.
Back-to-back sliders to him. Talking earlier in the game and Nelson's ability to hit the ball the other way. Bad idea right now. Playing him to pull on the infield and the outfield. And they're pitching him away with the slider. 3 sliders in a row. Pretty good swing at a fastball at 95. Not a bad pitch on the outside corner, but elevated for him.
Full count. Seager, a home run in his first at bat tonight, is on deck. Tying run, Cano at first, held by Abreu. Three-two to Cruz. Swing, shot high towards center field. Nelson Cruz has given the Mariners a 4-3 lead. Number 18 for Cruz comes here to 6th. So Swarzak has given up now 2 home runs this year. Mike Trout and Nelson Cruz.
2 pretty good players, I would say, for Nelson. His 18th home run on the year, and now 72 RBIs for him. It's a fastball, middle in. He stays inside of it and drives it to center field. He knows it's going to be out of the ballpark right away. It had that sound. And with nobody out here in the 6th, the Mariners take the lead. Hey, something.
A lot of smiles inside of that dugout. Here is Seager looking at ball one. I mean, think about it from a manager's standpoint, right? If you're Rick Renteria,
yeah,
this is the guy that you wanted on the mound to face Nelson Cruz. This is the situation. You obviously didn't want to have Cano at first base. You were hoping that Jennings would be able to take care of him. Jennings, the left specialist, and this is the guy that you pinpointed to retire Nelson Cruz, a guy who's not given up home runs this year. Right-handers have really struggled, and there aren't many guys who can beat the best guy that you have, or one of the best guys that you have in that situation of the bullpen.
You mentioned the 2 names. Both of them great players in this league to do it, and that's the reason why they're just different than everybody else. And Nelson, an all-star this year, we mentioned it, hitting 40 home runs a year, doing all the great things, hitting with runners in scoring position. He's just better than most. And the bottom line is he hits good pitching.
Well, 18 home runs, 7 of them have come with 2 strikes against him. And we talk from time to time about how difficult it is at this level to hit with 2 strikes, let alone hit home runs.
Well, we talked about it earlier in the ball game with this club not hitting the home runs at the pace at which they did last year. But I've said this, and I think it's going to be true at the end of the year. I really believe it. At the pace at which the baseball is going out of the ballpark across Major League Baseball, these guys are going to catch up in a hurry.
Seager not pleased, and you can see why.
Yeah, that pitch was probably inside of 95 miles an hour.
One out, nobody out for Valencia.
Well, earlier in the game, Danny did a nice job and was at third base, and you can see Dyson hitting. He's going to hit a line drive at Danny, and you can see where he's at. He's in foul territory, and that ball ends up hitting him, squares him up pretty good. Phil Cuzzy, the third base umpire, ends up calling it a foul ball right away. This ball right back up the middle. But you're taught early on, probably, well, I was taught in high school, but some maybe in college, that you line up in foul territory for that exact reason right there, because if you're in the field of play and the ball hits you, then you're out. And that's the reason why they had you get outside, and really you don't have anybody holding you on at third base. You don't have to worry about a throw over there and getting picked off. Not very often anyway. They'll try it every now and then, but that's something you're taught early on, to get into foul territory, and a pretty good luck for the umpire and Phil Cuzzy to make the call.
Good move there by Valencia. Guillermo Heredia off the bench. He will bat for Haniger. I wonder if something was up with, we saw Haniger's finger earlier. He was being tended to. Normally we see Heredia coming off the bench to face a left-hander. Not the case here.
They had some tape, so I was wondering if maybe because of the pine tar he was having an issue, but I guess we'll find out after the game. Guillermo came into the game yesterday, placed Gamble in left field, defensive replacement, but also picked up a base hit.
Down on strikes. Heredia retired, and that will end the top of the sixth. Nelson Cruz, number 18 on the season, comes up the south side, and it has propelled the Mariners to a 4-3 lead. His shortest start since coming off the disabled list, this being his 5th. Felix, 5 innings, only one of those runs earned.
Gave up 6 hits, didn't walk anybody. It's a good sign for him. But 93 pitches to get through the 5 innings, and a lot of them stressful pitches for him. So felt that was enough. His night is over.
Oh, we saw Heredia come off the bench and bat for Mitch Haniger. As Felix will take the rest of this one in from the bench. Heredia staying in the game. He is in left field for the Mariners. And moves Gamble from left field to right field. So a ton of speed in the outfield right now. Benson staying in center. Steve Cishek, the new pitcher for the Mariners.
For Steve, 17 appearances on the year, 3.86 ERA, just 14 innings. Opponents hitting 192. His fastball will be 90 to 92 miles an hour. Also has a slider. There's a good slider.
Gets ahead 0-2 to Matt Davidson, the DH. Former first-round draft pick by Arizona in 2009. Davidson actually went to the same high school as Taijuan Walker in Tampa, California. Strike 3 call. Paints it with the fastball. Good start for Steve Cishek. Well, the bullpen was just fantastic last night in back of James Paxton, Zick, Vincent Diaz, all going in innings scoreless, each with 2 strikeouts. 3 up, 3 down for all 3 guys. As we go back to the Ford Sports Desk, we bring in Bill Kruger. So, Bill, the Mariners used the high leverage guys last night. Right now, the Mariners a 1-run lead in the 6th. How do you handle this one going forward?
I think that you're right about that, Bill. And then what we're seeing is the overall depth of it. When you see somebody like Cishek and he's pitching here in the 6th inning, ends up jamming Anderson as he picks up a base hit. But Bill, when you talk about the bullpen, and we showed the numbers from them last night, and you start to think about moving forward. One, what do you think about as far as their workload in the first half and your expectations of them the rest of the way out?
Bill, we appreciate the insights as always as this gets away from Valencia. That's the 3rd time in this series where he has had to try to corral one. This time it does not work out. We'll catch more from Bill coming up to the postgame show presented by Alaska Airlines.
That will definitely be an E1.
Second error by a Mariners pitcher tonight.
Now the bullpen quickly having to pitch out of trouble. Felix able to do that for the most part. He held the White Sox down to a 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
Torria out of the dugout. Is he saying that he should take 3rd?
That's what he's saying. Get it together and talk about it. But I think that more of what Bill was talking about in this bullpen, and I mentioned it last night after the game. They have a lot of talent out there, but the depth of the bullpen now is not something that you want to use every night. We've talked about that. The starter's going to have to find a way to get a little bit deeper in the game because these guys can't pitch every day. But I think that they'll do that. And Paxton was a good start. Unfortunately for Felix, he was in some trouble tonight. Had to use up a lot of pitches to get out of it, which he was able to do again. like Tom Hallion, the crew chief, disagreeing with
Whoa! And he just got heaved. Renteria just got tossed with his back turned to Hallion. He said something, some kind of parting shot. And Rick saying, you know what? Now you're giving me my ticket, I might as well get my money's worth.
Tom Hallion's going to make him walk out to center field.
And Hallion is bracing for impact. Tom does not seem as fired up about this as Rick does.
No, but
there you go. Well, that was a short fuse. Just like they used to do it, Mike. We have missed this, haven't we?
Well, Renteria has been in this game for a long time, and Tom Hallion, the crew chief, one of the better veteran umpires in the game. Not a pretty good show for the fans. Unfortunately, Steve's still standing in the middle of the diamond. He'd like to pitch. Bill Cuzzy trying to move it along.
Maybe offering some breath mints to both parties. Big round of applause for Rick Renteria.
To the throw. It's going to be wide. Anderson diving back to the base. Hard to tell where the ball ended up going, but I think it went into the camera well. And then Tom's had enough. That's why you're questioning the call. The umpire has been doing this for a long time. I'm pretty sure he was able to get that one right.
It's the 6th time Renteria has gotten the heave-ho this year. That's fair to say above league average. It felt as though Hallion had a stopwatch going in his head. I'm going to take this for 25 seconds, and then it's on.
I think it was a sprint, yes.
Tying run, meanwhile, is now in scoring position. Cishek keeping eyes on Anderson, who runs very well. Kevin Smith, the catcher, at the plate, hitless tonight. Anderson really dancing around.
Robbie's standing right on top of the base, and a couple ways to look at it. I think he's trying to distract Steve, but also for the hitter it can be a little bit difficult.
To Valencia, 2 outs, and moves Anderson into third base. MLB.com app bat is your #1 mobile app for live Mariners baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Mariners home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, statcast news, and more. You can download MLB.com app bat today. 2 outs, tying run at third base for the White Sox. Domingo looking at ball 1.
Engel hit a line drive right past Felix his last time up. Defense was set perfectly. Cano playing up the middle was able to catch the line drive. Played by Ruiz right there to keep that fastball from going to the backstop.
That looked like about the location where his slider would end up. Tying run is at third. Check swing and appeal. 3-1.
So he wants to get him out. Cabrera waiting on deck, having a good night. Cabrera, the leadoff hitter, is 3 for 3.
Full count now. Fastball that catches a lot of the plate. There's Cabrera. Has driven in 2, has scored a run as well. Scored twice, actually. Anderson at third. Runners on the corners. A 2-out walk.
Working on the slider.
That is the first walk this series by a Mariners pitcher. 21 strikeouts, 1 walk.
And Mel Stottlemyre, another trip out to the mound. Nobody getting loose in the bullpen. I heard Bill Kruger talking about all the right-handed hitters in the lineup, and he's right, 8 of them. Fortunately, the switch hitter Cabrera walking up to the plate.
Engel at first, Anderson at third. Mariners by a run, 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. And the first pitch to Cabrera is a strike with a slider. Good numbers for Cabrera with runners in scoring position this year. Check ahead, 1-2.
In Steve's last probably 2 or 3 outings, his velocity has been back up. He's typically 90, 92, but as we mentioned, he was on the disabled list. When he first came back, he was still trying to build up some arm strength, where his fastball was more 88, 89. He's throwing the ball much better now. Pretty good slider, too.
The 1-2 on the way.
It's a good fastball at the top of the strike zone.
Anderson standing at third base. 4-3 Mariners. Another foul ball with 2 strikes. Ruiz will hand deliver a new baseball.
So far in this at bat, it's been the slider trying to go down and away. Started off the plate and hit the outside corner down, and if he misses with it, he's come back with the fastball at the top of the strike zone. Cabrera so far has not been able to catch up to it.
Cabrera 3 for 3. Holds his foul. Next pitch will be number 7, Melky Cabrera. Runners on the corners, 2 outs. Ground ball. Right to Cano. And that ends the inning. And Cishek strands a tying run 90 feet from home, preserving the Mariners' lead. 1-run lead. Going after the first pitch, foul ball. Casey Cantel making some White Sox fans happy. Casey, a college teammate of Terry Francona, University of Arizona. Happy to see Tito back up on his feet after a heart procedure.
It was great to see.
Now, there was a moment in the All-Star game where Brad Mills, the bench coach for the Indians, representing Tito, managing the American League, had the trademark dugout interview with the guys up at the booth during the game. Kevin Cash, who was formerly the bullpen coach for the Indians before now managing the Rays. So Kevin Cash and Terry Francona and Brad Mills are very good friends. Kevin Cash put a healthy wad of bubble gum on top of Brad Mills' hat and found a way to reach out to Tito, who was watching the game from his home in Cleveland, and said, "Get ready for this interview with Millsy." And there was Brad Mills doing an interview with a big wad of bubble gum on top of his hat. And Tito was all alone in his house in Cleveland, just cracking up in laughter watching Mills on national television. Maybe not looking his best.
I'm sure he enjoyed it.
I'm sure he did. Full count. Casey and Tito, by the way, winning the College World Series many years ago. Garcia was shaded a little bit that way. 1 out. Enjoy a summer Friday at the ballpark on July 28th with the Mariners and the Mets, plus taking a fireworks show for a special $17 price. It's our Summer 17 sing-along fireworks offer, available only at mariners.com/summer17. Offer ends Monday at midnight. One out, nobody on for Carlos Ruiz. And if you have not seen a fireworks show yet at Safeco Field, they are fantastic.
Carlos with a big base hit. His last time up, drives in a run. 2-out RBI for him. At the time, that tied up the ball game 2-2.
Strike 2. Ruiz last year traded to the Dodgers for A.J. Ellis, who's now with the Marlins. Longtime Dodgers catcher. He's kind of the personal catcher for Clayton Kershaw. It's the first year for Ruiz outside of the National League in his career. Calls time. It was interesting when we went to Philadelphia this year, hearing some executives from the Phillies say that they have already told Ruiz that whenever he decides to hang him up, he has a coaching job with the Phillies in their organization someplace.
I don't think there's any surprise there, is it? It's a smart move on their part.
Guy who means an awful lot to that city, as we saw firsthand. Full count. Swarzak a full count to each of the first 2 hitters this inning, as Segura will be next.
Looks like Tony Zek getting loose in the pen.
We saw Cishek work around a 1-out single and a walk 2 and an error. Anderson a couple of steps out to his right. The young shortstop's throw. Plenty of time for round number 2.
Tony Zek pitched the 7th inning in last night's ball game. 1-2-3 inning. A couple of strikeouts for him. with a couple of hits. What new, Aaron?
A chance for his third.
Average up to 354 now. His fourth plate appearance tonight.
When you think about it, for the Mariners and the lineup that they run out each and every night, a third of that lineup, Mike, free agent signees by the Mariners, all of which have in some cases exceeded expectations. Nelson Cruz certainly has. Robinson Cano is doing what he did for so many years in New York, and Segura, a trade acquisition, he has done his part. I mean, these
no arguments here.
Yeah. It doesn't always work out that way.
No, it doesn't. No, it absolutely doesn't. And they've been terrific, all of them.
Just fouled over by third base. Some paint in 96. Side set down in order. It's time to stretch. What else could you buy with the Washington's lottery win played today? Having a good time tonight here on the south side of Chicago. Mariners leading 4-3. Mariners able to get 2 runs in the 6th inning thanks to Nelson Cruz to give the Mariners a 1-run advantage. Batters 2, 3, and 4 due up for the White Sox. They will face Tony Zych.
And Tony pitched well last night, a 1-2-3 7th inning, couple of strikeouts. His fastball was at 95 miles an hour. Hard slider to go with it. 30 appearances on the year, a 2.25 ERA for him. 28 strikeouts in 28 innings. Opponent's hitting just 196 against Tony.
You know, especially early when Tony came off the disabled list, Scott Service made a pretty strong effort not to work Tony back-to-back days. In the first half, he did that 5 times in total. He's working, of course, back-to-back days to begin the second half.
And I don't think that's something that we'll see a lot of. Hopefully it's because the starters are able to work deeper into games, but he's had all that time off for the break, so why not run him out there?
Garcia batting over 300 with 11 home runs as Zick wants Ruiz to go over things again. Line drive right to Seager. One quick out. Haniger started this game. Heredia came off the bench and pinch hit for him. This is an at bat earlier tonight. A bunt and looks like right off the finger possibly. Although Haniger's reaction there would not indicate that. And maybe now it does.
Yeah, right on the finger.
Heredia has taken over and left. Gamble has moved to right.
Tough night for Abreu. 0 for 1, but he's also been hit a couple of times.
Jammed him. There's Cano. 2 outs. Mike, speaking of getting hit, in Tim Kirchin's latest book, he has a chapter on being hit by pitches. And he said that was his most enjoyable chapter to write because he says every big leaguer, you can ask them the hardest ball that they ever hit, things along those lines, and they kind of hem and haw. But he said every big league hitter knows exactly the hardest pitch that they were ever hit by.
I would not disagree with that.
Yours?
Juan Guzman, right in the air flap.
Oh.
Yeah. Air flap went flying off the helmet, by the way.
I guess that's why it's there, but you didn't want to have to test that. Seager, a low pick and stride over at third. A very quick and tidy bottom of the 7th. Tony Zick, 6 pitches, 3 outs. is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Come try the sweet or spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger combo for $4.99. Limited time only. By BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. By Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. Beautiful night here in Chicago. The Mariners take the lead into the 8th inning. They will face a new pitcher, Tommy Kahnle, pitching here in the 8th inning. First time we have seen him in this series.
And then for Kahnle, 35 appearances, a 1-3 record. Pretty good ERA at 2.65. 57 strikeouts to only 7 walks. Terrific numbers for him in 34 innings. Only sitting 210. Good fastball. He will be in the upper 90s. Hard slider and a changeup.
Facing the left-handed bat of Ben Gamel. Starts him off with a strike.
Fastball at 99 miles an hour.
The left-handers are the only ones who have done any damage against Kahnle this year. And came on the hands quickly to Gamel. 1-2. Lefties batting exactly 100 points higher against Kahnle than right-handers. And another hit by a lefty off Kahnle. Able to get 99 miles an hour and shoot it into center field. Single for Gamel, reaches for the second time.
As Aaron mentioned, 99 miles an hour. They want to elevate it, but it's probably middle in. It's an impressive swing, able to stay on top of that line or that fastball that's above his belt. Not an easy thing to do as he drives it back up the middle.
Robbie, a walk and a run scored. He came home on a 2-run blast from Nelson Cruz in the 6th inning. Fastball strike. Behind 0-2. When you see that the foul ball left a mark on the window next to you, you're kind of glad that it did not come into your booth.
I thought you were going to reach out and catch it.
What would that have left on my hand?
Said that after you were amused by me having the ear flap knocked off my helmet.
Would have been very fitting.
I would have felt pretty good about it.
Mr. Blowers, here's your ear flap back.
There we go, right here.
It caught me right in the chest is what that would have done. Soft chopper to second base. Saladino on first. Gamble is out. Cano is out. Leadoff single is raced. Looks like Gamble.
He's wondering why, because they never tagged him, but Tom Hallion was saying that he was out of the baseline, and that's what Casey Candell was explaining to him too. Again, Tom Hallion, the crew chief, veteran umpire, they go to tag him. He jumps out of the baseline, and that's when he calls him out. You can see Hallion Calling him out right away, pointing at him as he's out of the baseline.
Strike one to Cruz.
So this is one of those matchups where for Nelson, already a 2-run home run, but the pitcher that is throwing 99 miles an hour, I would like to see him get every bit of it. Watch how far it will fly.
The home run earlier tonight in the 6th inning. This was off Swarzak.
Out to center field off a pretty good right-hander.
Nelly behind. Retired on 3 pitches. That does it for the Mariners at the top of the 8th. We go to the bottom half. Mariners holding on to the lead. Bottom of the 8th inning. Make your voice heard. Nominate your favorite plays of the week by tweeting us using the hashtag RootFanFave. Each month, one lucky fan will win a Coors Light mini fridge just for participating. For official rules, visit rootsports.com. New pitcher on the mound for the Mariners. Nick Vincent will work the bottom of the 8th.
And poor Nick, he has really pitched well for the Mariners this year. You can tell by the ERA, 1.96 ERA for him. Listening 231. Should be his 39th appearance on the year. His fastball will be right around 90 miles an hour. Cutter at 87-88 in the slider. He also pitched in last night's ball game. A 1-2-3 8th inning. A couple of strikeouts for Nick.
White Sox go to their bench. Switch hitter Yolmer Sanchez. Bat for Saladino. Going after the first pitch, strike one. Soft fly ball out towards left center. Already a calling for. One up, one down. Now facing Matt Davidson. Davidson a couple of strikeouts tonight. A fly ball out to center field as well.
Typically for Nick, he's going to try to use his cutter Down and away. If he throws a fastball up in the zone, it's typically his four-seamer at 90 miles an hour. Davidson, he's going to try to keep the ball away from him. 18 home runs on the year. You can see Ruiz set up on the outside corner. Able to get away with that cutter. There's the four-seamer just above the belt. Mark Zepchinski getting loose in the pen.
And on the knuckles. There is Zepchinski. Again, Vincent's 0-2. Strike three call. That is a pretty perfect pitch.
He doesn't miss often. Going to go with a cutter. Started in off the plate. Let it cut to it. Ruiz framing it right on the inside corner at the knees.
And final work by Ruiz there.
That's perfect. After a couple of pitches, the four-seamer in on his hands. Gave up on it when he saw it come out of his hand in half at the plate, or excuse me, in off the plate. Comes back to get the corner. That's difficult for a right-handed hitter to offer at that.
First pitch to Tim Anderson. Out to center field. Dyson picking up some speed. Dyson flags it down. Braces himself, and it ends the inning. This bullpen just keeps on cooking for the Mariners with a little bit of help. It's nice to have Gerard Dyson out by the 400 marker. Up at the top of the ninth inning, he will face the White Sox closer, and Robertson will work here as the Mariners lead it 4-3.
Fastball, cutter, curve change from Robertson. Primarily, it's going to be a cutter and his curveball.
On the first pitch, Anderson is right there. Been pretty busy tonight.
I've seen that a couple of times.
Yeah.
I mentioned the closer for Robertson. Obviously not a closed situation, but 13 saves on the year for him. This will be his 30th appearance. Really good numbers. 46 strikeouts and 31 and a third. 2.87 ERA. Opponents hitting just 184 against him.
In play. Right behind the bag at second. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Are you the ultimate Northwest fan in the state of Oregon? Then Root Sports is looking for you throughout the month of July. Submit a photo and story on our website at rootsports.com/ultimate-fan. And you could win a VIP trip for 2 to Seattle for the Mariners' ultimate weekend event in September, a personalized jersey, and more. Well, 2 balls put in play that a few years ago the Mariners would have a couple of base runners right now.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because that's exactly what I was thinking, Aaron. But that's the way the game has changed.
When we talk shifts and when people think about the shift, I feel like we all kind of assume, well, you're taking away hits on the pull side, especially for a left-handed hitter.
I know we see a lot of them getting taken away at the middle, especially tonight. Tonight's been a great example of it. Number of what would have been base hits. Cano positioned up the middle, able to make the plays. A couple here in this inning.
Second time up for Heredia, who began the game at the bench. Took over for Haniger, who suffered a finger injury on the bunt attempt. Pulls it foul, still 2-2. You know, Mike, it makes me think of the great Stan Musial quote. Why would I want to hit the ball up the middle? That's where all the athletes are. Now you'd be saying that's where they're shifting, taking away all the hits up there. Into the corner and foul.
You would also say just hit through it.
Sure. Could probably do that.
I don't think it would have kept him from trying to pull the ball.
Right. Full count. Stan, the man who ended his career with exactly as many hits at home as he did on the road. Dyson on deck with 2 outs. The Mariners looking for a little bit of insurance here in the 9th inning. 1-run lead. Now the heavy workload for Anderson continues. And he gets to first base just in time to nab Heredia. We are going to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Mariners looking for a win. Diaz. New suit tonight here in Chicago. The Mariners Team Store Fan Dream Stakes contest is going on now. When you stop by any of the 5 Mariners team stores to sign up, you're automatically entered to win one of 10 great prizes, including authentic Mariners apparel, a photo with the player, or even a chance to throw out the first pitch. So stop by Mariners Team Store to enter. At least a new suit based on what we saw last night. Here's Edwin Diaz looking to lock down the save for the 2nd straight night.
He was dominant in last night's ball game. His fastball was 97 to 99 miles an hour. Hard slider. 1-2-3 night for him last night. A couple of strikeouts. Overall 14 saves on the year. 50 strikeouts and 36 2/3. Opponents hitting just .203 against him. Alan Hansen going to pinch hit. A little hit for Smith.
First pitch from Diaz tonight. Missing with 98.
Not fastball, yeah, at the bottom of the strike zone.
Mariners are 3 outs away from their first series win in Chicago since 2007. Pulled corner right field and a foul ball.
This is pretty impressive for him to come off the bench and turn around 98 miles an hour on the inner half of the plate. In fact, he's out in front of it a little bit, pulls a foul. Nice break for the Mariners.
One ball and 1 strike as Hansen now digs back in. Sees a slider this time. For the 1-2. Check swing. He does not go. Count rolls even 2-2. Thinnest of margins for Diaz to work with tonight. Full count.
He's hitting that last fastball at 99 miles an hour, trying to pitch him inside. It looked like Diaz was going to make sure he was able to get it in off the plate.
Engel on deck, the number 9 hitter. Three-two coming. Really had him swinging through that one. A slider that Hansen could not quite make his mind up on.
Well, he was expecting to get a fastball, and it is the slider. Gets him to swing over the top of it. Difficult pitch to lay off of when you throw as hard as Diaz. You have to cheat and get the bat started early, and when it's going to be the slider, especially located there, it looks like it's going to be a fastball in the zone. It just disappears on you. No chance to lay off of it. Excellent pitch.
Strike 1 to Engel. Strike 2. Missing with 99.
fastball. Velocity was great on him at 99, but well off the plate away. Like Ruiz wanted him to elevate the fastball on the plate.
Just barely gets a piece.
Yeah, pretty good slider right there. We have to give him some credit to foul that off.
Harmless fly ball out to right center field. Gamble puts it away. Out number 2. Well, if hitting is contagious, you might be able to say the same thing about what's going on in the bullpen right now. To begin this series, the Mariners bullpen has been absolutely nails. Retiring 20 of 22 White Sox hitters. This will not be an easy one facing Cabrera.
This will be a challenge right here. I think there's no surprise to see all of them with good stuff because they've had some rest. But you never know coming out of the break if they're going to have the command. And to a man, their command has been really good. This will be a good battle here. Veteran and Cabrera having a good night.
It was Nelson Cruz, his 2-run home run of the 6th inning that has given the Mariners a 4-3 lead. Diaz 1 out away from shutting the door. Strike 1. Boy.
Yeah.
Instead of 0-2, 1-1. Missing with 100. Another close pitch.
Yeah, such a big difference. It's difference between 2-1 and 1-2 is a huge difference as a hitter.
Cabrera could be out. There's a strike.
Cabrera didn't like it. He thought it was off the outside corner, but I think he's pretty fortunate to have a 2-2 count right now.
Pretty fortunate the high five line has not started. Diaz coming home to 2-2 through the right side. Tying run is at first for the White Sox. And the winning run, Avisail Garcia, is coming to the plate.
And the 4th hit for Cabrera tonight. Came back with a slider and missed his location, ended up leaving it right in the middle of the plate. He tried to get it down out of the strike zone to get him chase it, but he just leaves it right in the middle. At 88 miles an hour with the way Cabrera is going tonight, he wasn't going to miss that.
Garcia. Has not been able to command that fastball for the most part.
Not as well as he did last night.
Missing to make it 2-0. Tying run at first.
Challenge him on that last fastball in the hitter's count. We'll see if he comes back with it again.
Three and one. Pitches now for Diaz. The 3-1. 2 on, 2 out.
That time he missed badly with a slider, 87 miles an hour. Mel Stottlemyre out of the dugout. We're going to have a conversation with him.
Abreu is next.
Talked about it a few times this year when he's had some struggles and his mechanical issues that he wasn't able to self-correct. And Mel probably reminding him of a few things to think about. He's had good stuff tonight. His fastball's topped out at 100. Pretty good slider. He's dealing with the middle of the lineup right now. He's going to have to work ahead of some hitters.
Tying run is now in scoring position. Winning run Garcia at first. Abreu twice tonight hit by a pitch. Missing with another fastball. Ball one.
Missing in the same spot to the right-handed hitters with the fastball. Well off the plate, down and away.
Making to the average has been basically the same home and road, even a little bit better here in his home ballpark, but all but 2 home runs coming on the road.
Slider. A smart pitch after missing with the first fastball. Abreu was clearly cheating on the fastball in the second pitch. Well out in front of the slider.
Got him. Another slider.
The slider just trying to keep the ball away from him.
Diaz 1 strike away.
A better command of his slider than his fastball tonight.
Tying run at second, winning run at first. The 1-2. Swing and a miss for strike 3, and the slider finishes off Abreu. The Mariners get their first series win in Chicago since 2007.
And the White Sox with a lot of opportunities tonight. They end up going 1 for 13. Felix holding them 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. And the bullpen took over, was able to get the job done again tonight. So a nice win for them, winning this 1-run ball game.
Fine work. Mariners have a chance for the sweep tomorrow behind Andrew Moore. Didn't they'll be talking about that. Mariners post game presented by Alaska Airlines. Tom and Bill, you guys take it away.